Hello there. Welcome to this episode of Force Ghost Conversations. This is your host, Anthony King, and this week, along with special guest Mrs. Force Ghost Conversations herself, Elise King, we're going to take a deep dive look into the Season 2 episode of The Bad Batch titled The Tipping Point. Before we get started, I'm inviting you to join the conversation with us. We can be found on Twitter and Hive at Force Ghost Pod. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok just by searching Force Ghost Conversations. Also, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your listening site of choice. Plus, Force Ghost Conversations is now live on Patreon. If you are a fan of the podcast and would like to consider pledging your support, there will be a link in the episode description for you to check out the various tiers offered. Finally, please be sure to check out our TeePublic store to buy some Force Ghost Conversations merchandise. And without further ado, it's time to gather around the campfire for some Force Ghost Conversations. All right, everybody, welcome back to another installment of Force Ghost Conversations. And again, I'm so thrilled to bring you our next discussion all about the new episode from The Bad Batch, or should I say the latest episode from The Bad Batch at this point, because at the point of release today, the 2 episodes of the season finale for Season 2 have dropped. So, of course, we're talking all about The Tipping Point, I guess in a way, the penultimate episode for The Bad Batch Season 2. So on the other side of this short break here, we'll be covering all that with Mrs. Force Ghost Conversation, so you don't want to miss out on all that goodness. Before we get into that, though, I just wanted to share some housekeeping updates for you all. Of course, we will not be covering any news this week, or in this episode, I should say, for the Star Wars Lucasfilm Galaxy. We'll cover that in our Sunday episode, which will be releasing in just a few days, which will, of course, cover the latest episode from The Mandalorian. So, of course, no news in this episode today. However, I did want to mention that we are hosting CouchCon here at Forest Ghost Conversations. As you probably are aware, Star Wars Celebration is fast approaching on April 7th through the 10th in London. And for those of us that are going to be at home, I wanted to do some fun things for everybody in order to keep the conversations going because, with London being 5 hours ahead than at least the East Coast, we just want to keep the fun going and to have some community and celebration at home as the convention will probably be over around, lunchtime over here on the East Coast. So with all that, we have some goodies planned. So be sure to check out our Twitter page, Force Ghost Pod, for updates on all the news and happenings that are happening during the celebration. Of course, you also want to be sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we'll be doing some daily, basically, post-event live stream recaps. So you can come there, lend your voice, talk about all the cool stuff that is happening at the celebration, at convention. What are some of the cool stuff that you want to talk about? You can come out there, hang out with us. We're going to be doing that just about each and every night. And of course, we're going to be doing 2 watch-alongs. So let me just walk through the schedule with you all quick here just before we head to our next conversation. So on Thursday, April 6th, we're going to be doing a Instagram Live AMA, so you can ask me anything at our local restaurant here called Gordon Ramsay's Fish and Chips. Just wanted to keep a little bit of the London theme going here, and what better way to support that than by having some fish and chips? And of course, it's one of my favorite restaurants in our local area too, at Gordon Ramsay's Fish and Chips. It's a really great place if you're ever in the chance to get some of those. I really, really highly recommend it. So we'll be doing a fun Instagram Live from there, and that'll start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you're following us on Instagram at Force Ghost Conversations to engage in those discussions. Then Friday, of course, April 7th, when the celebration event generally starts, or officially starts, I should say, we'll be doing some live tweeting of the celebration stream all throughout the convention day itself. So whatever panels are going to be streaming live on the live stage, and of course, throughout the day, we'll be covering all that stuff, so just be sure to connect to our Twitter page for that. At 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be doing a recap stream on YouTube. So again, like I mentioned, go check out our YouTube page. Just search for Force Ghost Conversations, and you'll be there. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, we'll be doing a watch along of The Mandalorian Chapter 1 titled The Mandalorian. So all you need to do to engage in that is to pull up your own Disney Plus account and hit play at 8 o'clock like the rest of us. And then you can live tweet and, just enjoy all the fun stuff that is going on. You just got to tweet hashtag Mando Watch Along in order to engage in the conversation with us. And we'll be monitoring that hashtag throughout the I guess the hour of the episode, what have you. So be sure to engage in all that just to keep some of the camaraderie and the fandom going from there. Saturday, April 8th, we'll be doing a live tweeting of the celebration stream again at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We'll do another recap stream on YouTube. 8 o'clock p.m. that evening, we'll be doing a watch along of Return of the Jedi. So whatever method that you have Return of the Jedi, put that on your television screen, and then tweet along with, again, the hashtag ROTJ Watch Along. So that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to celebrating the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi during that event. And on Sunday, April 9th, we'll be doing a live tweeting of Celebration stream. And at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing a recap stream on YouTube. And then finally on April 10th, Monday, we'll do a live tweeting of the Celebration stream. So that's all the fun stuff that we're doing in regards to Celebration overall, and what I'm appropriately dubbing CouchCon or Star Wars Celebration at Home. We're just going to have a lot of fun with it and hope to create a lot of fun memories at home for those of us that can't be at Celebration proper. So that's all that I had for our preemptive segment here. On the other side of this short break, folks, we'll be back with our spoiler discussion for The Bad Batch, The Tipping Point. If you haven't seen the episode yet, now's your chance to do so. You've been warned. So we'll be back on the other side of this breakdown. Thanks. Hey everybody, welcome back to Force Ghost Conversations. It is time for that special time of the week where we're going to talk all about The Bad Batch. And boy, are we getting to the end of the season? I don't know. I feel like our conversations are just starting in regards to The Bad Batch. And who else to bring along for these great talks are none other than Mrs. Force Ghost Conversations, Elise King. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Oh, man. This is a good episode this week, and I'm so thrilled to have you back on to bring your insights on it. And that's where I want to start is this episode's called The Tipping Point. And what do you make of that title? Who do you think reached their tipping point in this episode?
All of them?
Did everyone reach their tipping point?
I think so. I mean, if we look back at all the conversations we've had the last couple months, this is the episode everyone was talking about. What's going to make them get involved? How are they going to cross with Crosshair again? How are they going to get back in the game? Is Crosshair going to stay in his mindset? Blah blah blah. I mean, there's all the what ifs are being answered.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. Everyone kind of hit their tipping point.
Did you have one person in your mind?
I guess Crosshair was the clearest answer I could think of as being definitely if he's calling them, letting them know about it using a comms channel, the only way that he could think of to get in contact with them in some way, shape, or form. Then he definitely has, not only just from what we saw earlier in the season when he's like, forget the Empire, I'm done with this now.
Yeah.
Before I get tossed aside, I'm going to do some tossing aside.
Yeah, he definitely has the clearest moment, I think. But yeah, I mean, the situation's at a tipping point. Echo coming back to ask them to get the Bad Batch back in the game is a tipping point. I mean, there's a lot.
Really good point on that one too.
There's a lot going on.
Hot Hauser back in the fold. Whew.
You know what I want to say?
Man. What do you want to say?
Daddy Hauser.
Daddy Hauser.
Back.
Oh man. Well, I mean, that's a great point that you bring up here, where it's literally one of the.
They somehow made a clone that looks like every other clone. It's infinitely hotter than all the other clones. Yes, they did. It's a miracle.
It really is.
Haircut and swag, or swagger, I should say.
Put him in the Louvre. I want to see Tamara Morrison portray this guy in live action.
I have 100% faith he can do it.
I believe so too. Elise, this is a reunion episode of sorts. We've already talked. Daddy Hot Hauser is back. Gregor is back with Rex and Echo too. Echo, I mean, golly gee, it's felt like we haven't seen him in a hot minute. How did that make you feel, seeing all these returning heroes come back into the fray?
It was fun to see Gregor.
Yeah.
He's such a wild card.
Yeah, I like seeing Gregor. That's fun.
And it gives me some nostalgia for Rebels as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the...
Yep, Gregor and Wolf are one of the other ones with Rex.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, family. Nice to see Echo, although he's just like so one-track minded. Like even when Omega gave him a good, gave him a big hug, he was like, it's not been that long. And we're like, Echo, give her something, man.
It's not been that long, he says, and he also says, like, I see you've been keeping up on your training.
Like, all right. Like,
I made a friend too.
like, show some warmth, dude. But you know, whatever. Tech gave it to us. So I can't be so greedy this season.
Yeah. Do you think a rogue clone uprising is in our future? Like a mini clone rebellion against the Empire?
I hope not.
You hope not? Really?
No.
You don't want to see that?
No, because it's just gonna be sad. I'd rather them like sneak away and join in the greater rebel fight that becomes like part of a larger, more strategic vision. Because at least then they're dying at something that we know eventually wins. But if it's just like a single rebellion of clones, then they're all just gonna die, and like there's no like what was the point? It's just gonna be sad. You want to see it sounds like.
I think, although you do probably know what the outcome would be, I like the story element of it being like it was their agency to choose so.
That's a positive way of looking at it.
Like they chose to, if they're going to go out, they're going to choose fighting for their ideals.
They'd rather go out with like
their
the Viking
dignity,
policy, like a sword in their hand or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay.
As soldiers, they want that. I know you hate it. The soldier death.
I usually hate it, but in this regard, with how tight the Empire has on the clones' necks, and that they're already using them for scientific experiments and exterminating them, at some go out in a blaze of glory. Because usually I don't like that with other soldier stories. Yeah, so you have other options. You're
like, this is dumb. Don't be a boxer dying in the ring.
Yeah, there's literally no point to that. They have such tight hands around their necks. Also, if they can do the Andor thing of like showing how one rebellion might have failed, but it provokes greater inspiration, or like it pushes the rebellion forward. I would hope that in a clone rebellion, the storytellers show us that there is
some purpose,
useful and because it's just it's not going to end well.
No, it's not going to end well. Exactly. It'd be futile at this point. I mean, we know what happens historically.
Yeah.
But there's some positives that we noted that could come from it, as opposed to just a slaughter.
Yeah. They're okay. I'll focus on that.
Well, we'll see what happens in the end of this next 2 episodes we got to close out the season, plus hopefully another season 3, knock on wood.
Who did I say I thought might die this season? I said on the last couple episodes. Was it Echo?
I think it was Echo.
Yeah, I could definitely see him dying still. I was thinking about that this last episode.
Honestly, I was thinking Tech could possibly.
No, I think I said that too.
I think you said.
I said that because I was like,
you cover your bases.
Because his romance is doomed. Mm-hmm. No Star Wars romances end well with the. Okay, audience. Sorry, I had to. They always drop.
Myself. They always drop the ball when it comes to keeping those romances going.
No, they don't drop the ball. They blow it up.
They blow up the ball.
Yeah, they blow up the ball. Yeah. Okay. I can see Tech dying because that is the historical Star Wars story. I could also see Echo dying because he's like the fervent believer, and I don't think there's a way. I don't think he sees a future for himself beyond the fight.
No, I don't think so. He does.
Whereas
either.
like Hunter, Tech, Wrecker, they have seen another life and like come to terms that they could be okay with it.
And they've been fine with it for the most part too, at least. I think that's a great segue into my question here, Elise, where Hunter literally asks Echo in the episode. He's like, when will it be enough? And for Echo, or maybe for the larger Bad Batch here, do you have any ideas as to like that answer? I mean, is there when will anything be enough for Echo other than completing the mission. And it sounds to me, and I think you probably would agree at this point, that the other members of the batch are more amenable to other opportunities at this point.
I don't think there's everything enough. Like, the battle with the Empire is too big.
Mm-hmm.
They could be in it forever, and he's not with Rex and Rebels, so
yeah. But it doesn't necessarily mean he's dead. It's a big galaxy, as you noted.
It is. I mean, unless it's like they're crushed so hard. Like, if he was part of a rebellion that then is crushed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the interesting question of, like, Rex is like just living his life in Rebels, right? Not interested in fighting.
Yep.
And he's so fervent now. So what stamps that spirit out?
Yeah, is it Clone Uprising? Is it one climactic battle and he's just like, I'm done?
Yeah, it's like, it's either like such a drastic loss, which I think is more of a feasible option for Echo, or like he almost loses someone or loses parts of his family and then decides like the time he has left is spent with them. But I don't think that's Echo's path personally.
Yeah.
I also just think like I don't think he sees himself as fully human in the sense of like he has serious trauma that has been dealt with him. And I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think he sees a different fight.
That's true. I don't think he sees necessarily the humanity within him anymore.
Yeah. Or even a future. So, I mean,
he's like, what's my purpose other than just being a soldier and then dying?
Yeah. I guess that's what weighs heavy is like Rex is so into it right now and he's not when we see him later. So something has to happen with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll put a pin in that one and see how we come back to that one. Hopefully we're not sitting around this microphone in tears about that. But sorry.
Can't say it won't be.
Sorry guys. It could be.
What a bummer. What a downer conversation.
Could be done. Well, let's change this up a bit. Did you have any flashbacks to real life in regards to Tech Omega driving lessons?
Yeah, but like Tech was way cooler than my mom when I was learning to drive.
So your mom wasn't like, this is my maneuver that I've created?
No, she didn't take deep breaths. It was a lot of like, I can't say the things that were said.
Yeah, walk me through a little bit of what it was like to be driving with your mother for the first couple of times.
I mean, I definitely put her through hell in my driving lessons. So I can't say I blame her. But she also didn't keep her cool and she made me more nervous.
You kept elevating each other.
Yeah. It definitely ended with a lot of, turn into this parking lot right now. And then both of us like chest heaving, like just yelling. Just a lot of yelling. There was no calm, cool, collected moments. There wasn't.
So if you would have done that maneuver that Omega did there, where she's skimming off the water stuff, translate that to what a car would do. Your mom would be like, get into that driving.
As soon as I would have done one thing, that ship would have been parked on the ground, and we would have had a long discussion. Or eventually my tone would have brought my father out to talk to us.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, they would have been short lessons. Would have been sharp lessons, and would have never learned the maneuver. They wouldn't even let me know they created a maneuver.
Ooh, so it seems like you have some long-lasting memories of this experience.
They're seared into my soul for all eternity. They are.
Oh, do you wish that your experience was a bit more like Omega's, so you could look more fondly upon them?
I mean, I got the license eventually, so that was the fun
The
part.
ends justified the means.
Yeah, I think it's different also that, like, I don't know, Tech's a new parent, He's more of an uncle. There's a vibe. There's a difference in vibe there.
Yeah, he wasn't going to, like, berate her.
I don't know. I can't see you having screaming matches in a Volvo station wagon for your practice.
Oh, no, my mom and I can get heated. Or back then we used to get heated.
I can't picture it.
It was more just me getting defensive than anything else. So I'd just be like, what do you mean? I can't see.
Fair enough.
And like, just the perfectionist in me just.
Omega was confident.
Yeah, she wasn't afraid to whip around those corners and do stuff. So
No, yeah,
that's an earned confidence that only by...
It was an unearned confidence.
This is unearned confidence?
She hasn't earned it yet.
She's earned confidence over the course of this season by doing...
For driving a spaceship.
Well, absolutely not for driving a spaceship, but just in general, she had that confidence in her tank built up that she was pulling from.
You're right. I do not have any confidence built in my tank. So.
Me either. Meow.
We got confidence now.
We are building it.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely, guys, we're building this.
God, this is going to turn into our manifesto of how we built confidence in our 20s.
Absolutely. I started a podcast and you jump on it.
Oh boy. Yeah, anyway, it's fun to watch though. Fun to see like so many new sides of tech.
Yeah, fun tech.
Yeah, fun tech. Fun tech is back.
Fun tech is back.
Yeah.
And hopefully we don't lose them in the next couple of episodes.
Oh, I would be devastated. I'll just be in a silence.
Yeah, we'll just sit here for a half hour and just be like, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
We just can't even answer questions. We just can't discuss.
No, okay, moving on.
Well, moving on. I last want to talk about the Crosshair of it all in this episode.
We got Sexy Hemlock voice back.
Your words, not mine.
Okay, I can admit he's a monster with a great voice.
He's got a great voice. He's got
It was some ear candy with Hemlock and some eye candy with Daddy Hauser.
What an episode. Just stuff for everybody.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch.
Stuff for me.
Stuff for the whole family can get behind the Bad Batch. There's something for everybody. But what did you make of what happens to Crosshair in this episode?
I don't know. I'm so proud of him.
You were proud of him? Why?
Because I was like, oh, he's not trying to make an escape. He's risking his life for just to give a warning out.
Yeah.
A little worried they can track that warning. Not great.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll try that.
But I was just so proud of him that he I don't know, what he learned or realized on that ice planet has stuck with him, and he's remembered that even despite the bad blood between them, they're family and he doesn't want them hurt. So I don't know, I was just so proud to see him get back on a path that I always hoped he could come back to.
Yeah, absolutely. I know this is one of those instances where as an audience member that he knows nothing about them, so all the interrogation that they're doing and all that, it's really futile.
But it's what the Empire has done forever in Star Wars. I'm it is a ginormous galaxy. Literally, you could be oh yeah, they're probably taking missions for money, which would be accurate, but you don't know where they are. You don't know who their contacts are. You don't know where they're going. He would never pick the island they're on. It's so remote and peaceful. That's not what they're by.
That might even not be called the planet that they're on, right? We don't know if Pabu's on another planet that has a different name.
Makes no freaking sense to me. I'm you guys are dumb.
Absolutely. Do you think if he did know, would he have turned the Bad Batch in?
No.
You don't think so?
I think the fact that he risked getting out to warn them shows he was never going to say anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that? Why do you do you think there was anything else? But
because F the Empire. I mean, he just saw
he's
how
so
much
done.
They don't. Yeah, I think he's just let's burn all the bridges.
I guess that end of season 1, that scene where they're on the remnants of Kamino waiting for the ship, and they're here's another chance. They keep giving chances, whereas the Empire was you're done. We're casting you out. And that must have really stuck in his head, aside from, in addition to what he just went through in the outpost.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just learned that blind loyalty to an ideal that doesn't exist anymore is not worth people, you said, who constantly extend the hand and do idealize those values that you've always held.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. An important lesson of friends stick around longer than political regimes.
Yeah, and also the callousness of the Empire is unmatched.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, they're not afraid to cast you out.
There's probably some guilt there of I could see in his brain being I deserve to suffer. So
yeah, absolutely.
probably really complex stuff. Also, maybe like he doesn't feel like he deserves to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like what you said a lot there about like the Empire just being so callous to just toss people aside. And like, just think, like 4 episodes ago we were talking about Admiral Rampart, and now we're not even thinking about him at all in the sphere of things.
it's like you're like, wow, these bad guys are so impressive, and then it's like the system in which they work are even villains to those who work within it. So it's like, yeah, it's just they just do not care. And I think also when he took that blaster to his commander, Crosshair was ready to die. Yeah. He knew as soon as he shot him, he was dead.
He was prepared.
Yeah.
He was ready for the consequences.
Yeah.
There was that, in addition to Dr. Hemlock, there was like that other Dr. Orderly. It was kind of like a number 2.
Oh, the one that I thought might have been like another Omega, but older before.
You did speculate that, yes.
I don't believe it anymore, guys. I just went wild for a week.
She seems more sympathetic than anybody else to Crosshair's plight in this episode, or at least more than the others in the detention site. Do you think there was anything to that at this point?
I mean, I think at the very least it just shows that even if like ambition wins out in the end, not everyone is a sociopath that can disassociate from the evil that they witness. I mean, obviously she's still sitting there and like taking part in this project and stuff. And like, but it's hard to argue against a guy who's like not willing to talk to protect his friends. But
yeah.
Even like lackey. I mean, you would hope that lackeys, that wouldn't sit well with them. I hope they can be used to his advantage in the future, but because she still seems sympathetic to me even when he got captured again.
Yeah, she wasn't like holding it against him like, oh, I gave you a chance and now we're tightening these restraints harder.
Also, it's not like the methods they're using are effective. Like they're needlessly violent.
Yeah, we're going to keep probing you for information I don't have.
Yeah, like it's like in Andor where they use that sound on Cassian's
I forget her
friend.
name off the top of my head. But yeah, in the last episode.
Yeah, and it's just like you're not getting any information from her anymore.
Oh, Bix, that's right.
Yeah, you're just doing it to ruin her life.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just a punishment.
And as we've seen, the New Republic will continue doing that too a little bit with Dr. Pershing and the Mando when he fried his brains out in the last episode that we saw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know yet if they're like actually trying to fry his brains because it sounds like it's not actually harmful until his friend did
If they really didn't want to do it, they would have taken off the ability to let it go up to that level. I guess in my head. So.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know I mean, that's a different conversation, but we don't know what links the Republic's willing to go to protect itself.
We'll have to find out. Very intriguing, Elise. Well, this is my last question here for us today. And when this episode is released, there will be 2 new episodes, the season finale, if you will, for season 2 of The Bad Batch. What do you think happens next?
I think it still ends on a cliffhanger.
Ooh, give me some deets. What do you think happens? Speculate irresponsibly.
You are changing the game.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Audience, like a year and a half ago, he was like, I will never speculate irresponsibly. I think they go rescue Crosshair. I think they do some reconnaissance to try and tell if it's a trap. And then I think the second episode is them going in to save him. And then we don't know. I think it ends with like, there's a cost. Or we don't know. I can't imagine.
You think it cuts to black and they're like, and then we have to wait a year or a year and a half?
Yeah, or someone's like Omega gets caught. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be the worst? Especially like you hate when they end on cliffhangers like that. And then you have to wait a year and a half. Coming from the person that's like, I'm mentally prepared. I know this book's not coming out for another 2 years. And then it hits you and it's devastating. How can I wait 2 years? You're ready to throw your Kindle across the...
I'll say for that some of those people who would understand. Authors do dirty.
Yeah.
All right, and it's fade to blacks that you could never ever even imagine are possible. So that's a different game. There's only so many things that could happen. I'm just preparing myself, and if they rescue Crosshair, and then all of a sudden it's them and then the next season is them joining the rebellion, and like it's actually like a rounded out episode, I will be pleasantly surprised. I am thinking there is a cost. They haven't paid a cost this whole season.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no cost except for Crosshair paying. Bad Batch has paid nothing. I think the stakes are about to come. The loan's about to come due. Our hearts are about to be ripped out.
The bill's coming due.
The bill is coming due. Yeah. I'm preparing.
You're preparing.
What do you think?
Let's go nuts with this one.
Oh,
all right.
Gosh. Okay.
I think Crosshair. I think they go get Crosshair. All right. But
Does Crosshair sacrifice himself? So
no. That's not even it.
Okay.
I think they go get Crosshair, but the crew that goes and gets him is Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, Rex. Like, it's just them. They leave Omega behind at Pabu.
Really?
Yeah, I think they leave Omega behind.
Okay.
And they go get Crosshair and all that, but it's actually a diversion because all they really want is Omega, and they somehow find out that you speculated there the encryption that they wanted, because they've been teasing the episode in the last couple of episodes. They're like, well, what do you do if the Empire comes? Like, we'll handle it. You're not handling it, boss. You got nothing here.
Then they swoop in, and then the Bad Batches together, and they realize that actually, and then the medical facility actually moves to a new place because they know they're compromised, and then they don't even know where she is anymore.
You gotta spend a whole third season trying to find Omega out
and then it's weaving in Omega learning what they're doing for cloning, and then also the Bad Batch having to weave themselves into the Resistance and their underbelly contacts, and we figure out more and more of how clones are being picked up and what's going on with them.
Yep. And in addition to the loss,
that's not irresponsible. That sounds very plausible.
You're saying a loss. I think Fee dies protecting, so then Tech has to deal with that emotional loss.
Oh God. To be fair, I hope it would be Fee who would die if I had to pick between.
Yeah, she's protecting this home that she likes, Pabu and Omega. They had such a connection over the course of this season. I think it lines up for now. It could all be wrong, and I'd be fine with what we'll get tomorrow. But
let's just say devastation and heartbreak.
It hits all the plot details.
Are the beats that are coming. You've said it for 16 episodes or 14 episodes.
Yeah, we're ready for it. We're ready to get our hearts broken down.
All right, bring it on.
Bring it on, everybody.
Maybe some Grogu will soothe the soul afterwards.
Yeah, because we're definitely watching Bad Batch first on our on our order here.
Yeah.
Well, Elise, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about in this episode here before we close up shop?
I'm sure the whole internet has said this, but it was just so cute with Wrecker playing tag. I loved it.
It's nice.
I just want a hug from him. You know it would be a good hug.
It would be. It would be hearty yet cozy. It
would be all-encompassing.
Yeah.
And warm.
It would be an everything bagel.
Oh, I love everything. You hate everything bagel.
I don't like just anything that's not a bagel with butter on it, to be honest.
I love an everything bagel, so that's a perfect analogy for me.
You're welcome. I thought you would like it.
Thank you. Okay. That's what I wanted to say.
That's all that we had for this week's episode. We thank you so much at home for joining us on this adventure for the Bad Batch as we head into the season finale tomorrow. Well, at the time we're recording this, it'll come out tomorrow. So as you're listening to this episode, I hope you head home and listen and watch those next two episodes on Disney Plus, as we'll be back on next Wednesday to discuss all that happened in it and to break it down and just geek out about all the cool stuff that is coming up in the Bad Batch world. And hopefully we get a announcement for a season 3 and all that stuff coming up at Celebration. But
Celebration.
Yeah, we're ready for it. We're ready for it. So yeah, with all that, folks, we'll be back soon in your podcast feeds. This Sunday we'll be talking about the Mandalorian and all that, so get ready for that. Plus, Celebration is the following week, so we got a whole lot of stuff coming up there.
Come eat chips with us.
Yeah, come eat
fish and chips.
Come hang out with us. We're going to be doing an Instagram live on Thursday from Gordon Ramsay's Fish and Chips here in Washington D.C. And just join us on Instagram. We'll just geek out about Star Wars. Feel free to ask any question you want. We'll be there to chat around and have a good time with that. Plus, we'll have other things on our schedule too for CouchCon over the course of the next couple of days on that celebration weekend. So be sure to check out our Twitter page and our Facebook page for all the details on that stuff, because you don't want to miss out on all the fun. And with that, folks, we will be back again very soon. Again, thanks again for listening, and may the Force be with you.